It's showtime. God knows what embarrassing thing I was doing when that just caught me slightly by surprise. Hello to you, Luke and Musical Aviator. Oh, 2 reports of things. Luke, the football's weird with no crowd. Yeah, I imagine it is. Musical Aviator, you had been planning to go to see the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra on a date, and they live streamed the concert from an empty hall, but their bandwidth was shit, and that ruined it a bit. That's a bit sad. Oh, and you're working from home tomorrow. Yeah, we're going to kill the NBN, no doubt. Today was my second day of working from home. Starting to hit my stride, I think. Starting to get it happening. Hey, Heist, how's it going? Good to see you, buddy. I'm actually going into the office for a bit of time tomorrow. I'm going to have a face-to-face meeting with a couple of people. Will honestly probably be the last time. We had this kind of thing like, maybe we could do this once a week. I bet this is the one and only time we do it. In fact, Mrs. Angry thinks I'm a bit weird for doing it at all. It's a little bit concerning when someone who works in health hears you doing something and just goes, really? Do you think that's a good idea? Okay. So, yeah. But I'm going to go into the city tomorrow, and we'll see what's what. Hello, Robert and Miss Foxification. Hello. Everything still seems surreal to me. I don't know about anyone else, but it still seems surreal because we have not seen anything. We have we have a really quite good idea of what's coming, but it's still so fucking abstract. I don't know. I want to say to people, what would make it feel a fucking ant walking across? It's so distracting. An ant walking across my laptop screen. Hey, Justin, how you doing? Oh, yeah, the supermarkets do look weird. Strip bare. And hey, Kyle, how you doing? Look, you reckon next stream I'll have coronavirus? It's almost certainly when, but if and when I get coronavirus, I'm going to do daily vlogs about it, for as long as I'm able to. If you get complications, I might be too fucked to. But if I end up testing positive for coronavirus, I'm definitely going to do daily videos. Rob, what am I drinking? This is just a pineapple coconut juice beverage, little punch. This has got lemonade in it as well. So very tropical. Trying to feel tropical, like we're having a holiday. Oh yeah, music over. Yeah, a friend who's a pilot for Qantas. Definitely up Shit Creek. The airlines have no income for, I don't know, fuck no, 6 months longer. I don't know. Yeah. Yep, there's basically, this is the really disturbing thing. I mean, when people start getting sick, and it will happen, people will start dying, that's going to be bad. But what we are almost certainly facing is millions of people being unemployed. The economy can't take a hit like that. For there almost instantaneously to be millions of people who need support in the form of unemployment benefits is going to be bad, man. Foxification said the mall was full of people with kids and elderly. I went to Costco today, and it was relatively normal. It was actually a little bit quiet, but it was a weekday. I went like at lunchtime because I'm working from home. So at lunchtime I went out there. I'll let you in, Kyle. We need to bloody share our isolation as far as I'm concerned. So yes, I will definitely let people join the stream. So yeah. So Justin, you got 48 rolls toilet paper. Oh yeah, I got a packet. I had a fair amount of toilet paper from Costco, like 3/4 of one of those big packets, which is like 48 rolls. And the Saturday, like the day before everyone went nuts, I happened to go to Costco and I just went, I'm just going to get a thing of toilet paper while I'm here. One is 48 rolls. And the day after that, everyone went nuts. If I'd have known, I might have got a second one and, shared it with friends or people in need. I wouldn't have hoarded it. But I went there today. It was relatively normal. The only things they didn't have were toilet paper and minced beef. Apparently, everyone's going to have spaghetti bolognese for every meal during our internment. Oh, yes, look, I did see the video. The woman, I saw you sent me that. She got arrested. What did she actually do? Because, the video sent, she's just like, cops are saying, put your hands out. We're putting handcuffs on you. So, yeah. Yes, Robert, the US is going to be fucking shit. I say, Kyle's got words to say, which is always good. Soxication, get soup, pasta, rice. I didn't look really closely. There's definitely rice. Rice was quite easy, but I've got a fair bit of rice, so I was responsible and didn't get any rice, even though I could have got a big bag of it. But I've got a big bag of it. I don't need 2 big bags of it. So I didn't get rice. I think they have soup and pasta. But I didn't specifically check because I don't need either of those. So I didn't specifically check. I did see rice, though. What do I got to do? I've got to do the invite. Where's the invite link? Come here. All right. Let me go to Messenger. New message. Kyle. All right. So what's Matthew doing? Sorry, I'm just checking something before I come back. Watching the movie at the same time. That's cool. Hey, Big Pat. How you doing, buddy? Doing fine. Hope you're good. Yes. Oh, the normal supermarket, fucking everything's gone. But the 2 things that are sold out most, is it? Kyle, wave at the screen if you're ready to go live. I can only see the top of your head. There you are.
Sorry. Stupid microphone and camera. Oh, my God. Sorry. How are you?
Good, buddy. How you doing?
Good. I just came home today from a 2-month stay in Sydney, so okay. I'm now officially back in quarantine. Well, I'm starting quarantine now.
Social distancing now.
Indeed. So yeah, I'm back with NBN internet, my own bed, a desktop computer. It's not as terrible, but it's still, under the circumstances, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird. So Mark, I was seeing in the chat, Mark, fellow Aussie, citizen of Fortress Australia. Oh, good. I'm glad you caught me live, man. Yes. For those who don't know what my joke about Fortress Australia, the government has closed the border to dirty foreigners, and that is probably for a long time, probably for months, maybe 6 months, maybe longer.
So what I've heard is most probably the current situation is that the ban on meetings or anyone in indoor gatherings or whatever the fuck it is of people over 100 is going to be there until June 14.
Oh, it's going to be as long as it's going to be. It's going to be, and it's probably going to get stricter. We haven't done the things where they straight up say all restaurants, cafes, bars, pubs closed. It's like if you can say, well, we have a capacity of less than 100, you can still be open. You got to try and do social distancing. But yes, we see all through Europe and in a couple of major American cities shutting everything down. and that'll last as long as it lasts. We don't know. It'll last until there's some sort of control over the spread, and we don't know.
Yeah, but the problem is that the government doesn't want to do that. They don't want to do that.
It looks bad.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, the government doesn't want to pay insurance. Like, this is the problem that we're having with movie cinemas right now, is cinemas and the Independent Cinema Association in Australia, whatever the fuck it's called, has basically said, we want to shut down. We do not have enough money. They want to try and get into, like, insurance so that they can actually shut down, so that they can protect themselves, but they can't do that right now.
Yeah, so I just noticed Alex in the chat saying rumours about England getting locked down, maybe starting in London. It's absolutely possible, but it's also a case of don't believe what you hear on the internet.
That's true.
It is look, it's definitely a possibility, but take with a grain of salt anyone who tells you, "I've got the inside info, bruv, it's happening tomorrow." It might. It absolutely might. But there's no hard and fast thing. I love how as soon as, like, was it 1 day ago, 2 days ago, the Australian government did a blanket don't travel overseas. That's our recommendation. And any Australian citizen overseas should come home now. And everyone goes, that's it, fucking lockdown. And the government went, nah, that's not what they're doing. 1 day later, they say not allowing any foreign travelers into the country. But that's not a lockdown. No, technically it's not. You're not restricting citizens yet. Possibly a matter of time. Who knows?
I literally cannot believe that I'm defending Scott Morrison here, and I cannot believe I'm actually going to say that. But I think the problem we have right now is that this situation is so fluid and changing completely over time.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I think the fact that I actually think we need there is so many things that Scott Morrison has done that has made me get really frustrated and angry, and I think his avoidance, I'll say, to really create and sustain the Australian screen arts and cultural industries through Corona has been something where it has been so frustrating and so extinct from anyone else. Like, the one thing that they've done is Paul Fletcher, who's the Minister for Arts and Agriculture, a whole bunch of different things, have basically said, we're going to commit a roundtable to see what our thing is. But really right now, I could tell you what people are calling for. Cinemas want to shut down because they want to have insurances. People want to, festivals want to feel like everyone needs money. That's the thing. We need money to survive. And the other thing that I'll say is, I was talking to a friend yesterday who's very high up in a festival in the States. Yeah. And the one thing that this particular person was saying was the way we talk about coronavirus, while important it is, I feel like we have to understand that when we talk about, I'm paraphrasing here, when we say to people, stay home, lockdown, what you're essentially doing there, especially for people in the arts industry, is you're basically saying to them, here is your job on a platter. Now go, because we don't have any money for you. We don't have any jobs for you.
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
Yep. There's the ones getting immediately hit. I mean, fucking airlines are getting the press. And yes, there's a lot of people employed by airlines who are getting hit, but far more in hospitality, far more in arts and entertainment. Just like, no job, man. And there's actually a website in Australia.
I lost my gig.
Yeah, I lost my gig.net.au. Their latest tally from what people have reported to them. And this is like, in the first couple of weeks of this hitting, $200 million in lost income because of cancelled events, 400,000 people who've lost part or all of their employment because of it, and 220,000 events of some size have been cancelled. And that's in the first week. That's tallying it for like a week.
I'm one of those people.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just gone like that. Bam. It's pretty fucking dark.
It's pretty crazy. I actually was going. Called my. I'm working on a film right now. That's a short film that we were going to get into festivals next year, and I had to call my director yesterday and say, "What's the update? What are we doing?" And he was like, "There's a chance we could shoot it, but literally right now, who fucking knows?" I mean, it sort of went from this thing about like, I was talking so excitedly about it in like February, March to be like, yeah, February, I should say, where everyone's like, yeah, this is great. And people are really excited about it to like now with coronavirus. And I think between like even a month, like I feel like this is between February and March, we've had such a huge systemic change of the way in which everything's run because of all this craziness.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing I have to agree with Scott Morrison about is like, I do genuinely think 2020 has been the worst year possible. We've gone from bushfires to possible World War III to coronavirus. And I just think, what is going to happen next? When are we actually going to get a break?
Yeah, I know. Alien invasion by May. That's what I'm calling it now.
I remember seeing like a little meme from a film. I can't remember what it was called, but it wasn't like War of the Worlds. It was like, huh? What? Mum's just walking into my room.
That's fair.
What was I going to say? It's like, I think it was from like Troll Hunter or like Monsters, you know, that really indie film. And they were doing one like March coronavirus, April. It can't get any worse. And it's like a picture of like a monster attacking the planet Earth, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, that's next. Sorry, just say a few hellos to people who come into the chat. Catherine, Adele, Ashoka. Hi, folks. Everyone's saying, I haven't been into the city for 2 days. I was in the city on Tuesday, and it was kind of normal, little bit quiet, maybe 10% quieter than normal. And I've been home for 2 days, and I am going in tomorrow. It will be fascinating to see public transport first and then the streets of the city second.
But I also feel like Melbourne is more spread out maybe than Sydney is.
It feels it. It certainly feels it. Melbourne's a lot more open than Sydney.
Yeah. There's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing is you're kind of, I don't know if it's like the sound is different because of all like the sound waves kind of amplifying and kind of hitting all the buildings and then coming back down. But yeah, I mean the other problem we're having, I don't know about you guys in Melbourne, but especially in Sydney right now, the biggest thing that we're having issues with, and this isn't really related to coronavirus, but it could become an issue, is actually the amount of cinemas we actually have in Sydney and the amount of affordable cinemas for distribution and festivals. And that's becoming a huge issue as well. Yeah. Where the fact that we are closing down a lot of our cinemas, like the big, I don't know if you've been to Sydney a little bit. So you know the big cinema at in George Street. You know George Street, right, where the light rail is.
Yeah, I lived in Sydney for 10 years. So
okay, cool. Thank God. Yeah. You know, there's Event George Street, which is like right in the middle, basically. Yeah. And so that's shutting down in the next couple of years because they're wanting to turn it into a big apartment building and they're redoing it. Hoyt's Broadway, which is another cinema, is not that great. But I mean, Palace is Palace, and they were only going to only do the film festivals that they want to do. Yeah. There's nothing really there. And it's just...
I have to admit what I'm worried about, being known for my predilection for cocktails and do a bit of bar hopping given half a chance. All my favorite places that are so small, they're not just going to shut down soon. I worry they're never going to open again because it's like, well, the person behind it, no income for however many months, and they can't afford that. So it's just like, no, business go bye-byes. And I really worry about how many businesses are going to be shut down and how many simply won't be able to start up again once we get the all clear. Because, you know, close to half the population is employed by small businesses. And So they're all losing their jobs, and even when the dust settles, the recovery could take years. Really fucking disturbing to think of.
I mean, I think this needs to be a conversation about. I saw something today about introducing. I mean, it will never happen because this government hates everybody, but there should be a discussion about. I feel like hopefully this begins a discussion about UBI, which would be really great.
Even conservatives in the US are talking about at least temporary universal basic income. It's just talk at the moment, like, giving families $1,000 or giving adults, not just families, adults. So if, 2 adults in a house, you get $2,000 a month. But it's all talk at the moment. We don't know what's going to happen. Shoka, that's a good metaphor. Coronavirus is a biological fire. Yeah. But do
you know, it's funny, like I was walking underground at Central Station a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
I was walking I don't know what I was doing, but I felt like I think I was walking to a bus back to my accommodation, and I literally felt like I was from a scene. Just the way in which everyone was acting. And it almost felt like I was from a scene of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Just felt so strange.
It's all a bit weird. It is a bit
weird. It's really weird.
Who remembers the opening scene of 28 Days Later, the sort of zombie film where Cillian Murphy wakes up from his coma and wanders out into the streets of London, and it's absolutely empty, and he hasn't heard the news of what happened for the 28 days he was in a coma. And so it's that sort of thing, going on streets that are normally full of people as they get closer and closer to being empty. It's going to get weirder and weirder.
Yeah, I think it is. And I think a lot of people are going to start taking everything very seriously about hopefully going into some form of social isolation, which is good, but it's also just like, I just don't know.
Yeah, no, it's all very weird. So I just saw Heist was asking, did I stream yesterday? I didn't, and I didn't even put a video up yesterday. I got distracted. And I'm probably going from now on, because I did say once we all start getting into the social isolation, I'm going to try and do at least a short stream every day just to say, hi, how are we all doing? Let's have at least virtual interactions, even if we don't have in-person interactions. Try and keep our social skills happening.
Yeah, exactly.
I
mean, the thing is, it's
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, well, I'm going to be keeping my social skills up because I've just started a degree, and now, of course, that's been put on the thing because the school that I'm going to is completely shut down right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, both my offspring are at uni, and they're down to doing stuff online now.
I mean, the school I'm at is like very much about like getting your hands in everything, working in groups, and it's just so weird that because they're just like, weird. This is unprecedented, and so we have to literally say, we love you guys. You guys are awesome, but we need 10 days to workshop what we're going to do and how we're going to do that properly.
Yeah.
So we're technically on like a 10-day vacay right now, which is just great, but awful under the circumstances. And it's going to mean that a lot of people have to change the way that they work, which is not great, actually.
No, it's the change is happening so suddenly. So we think line spiders. Everyone's saying, "What do you mean social skills?" I don't have any social skills. We're going to practice them. And I also think Lion Spider was right saying we're going to see a spike in hypochondria. I know I do. I wake up in the morning and my throat's a bit dry and I'm going, I just need to have a drink of water. I don't have anything. But every time my throat gets a bit dry or my sinus gets a bit blocked, I go, okay, no, you haven't got it. You haven't got it. Calm down. I was a bit worried. Robert wants to know if I like Biden or Sanders. Biden is a fucking terrible candidate in the US.
Yes.
Like, Trump's going to smash him. Trump's going to fucking destroy him. And also, I worry you see video of him recently, both his mental and physical faculties just aren't there. It's really disturbing. I think Sanders is better by a long way. I out of all of them, I preferred Sanders. Like when there was that whole thing, I'd sort of rate, like, if Sanders is here and Warren was here, Warren was my second favorite. All the rest of them are down here. Like, there's such a huge gap. All the other ones were so conservative, so middle of the road. The only ones that had any chance of doing anything worthwhile were Sanders and Warren. Warren, of course, went by the wayside. Yep. Oh, Big Pat, definitely look for the movie. There's a movie 28 Days Later, which is fucking great. And there is a sequel called 28 Weeks Later. Is not as good, but is kind of good. MoFi sign. Sorry. We're talking about chaos. Oh, mixing metaphors about if the information contained in the virus was turned into computer things as 8 kilobytes of information. Yes, but it's all very weird. Little things. We're just bloody storage units for viruses, as far as I can tell. Like, you seriously look into it. There are a whole number of illnesses that can completely control our bodies. Like, and we can't control the viruses and the microbes, but they can control our body. It's like we're working for them. They're not parasites on us. They actually control us. It's very strange.
I think a lot of stuff can control us anyway. I think, like, look, I mean, let's be honest. Like, the reason why Scott Morrison actually got elected last year or this year or whenever the fuck it was.
Last year.
Last year. Oh my god. It feels like it's been fucking ages. Was because of the Murdoch press and people
absolutely
went in and I think that's why he got elected. And I think that's the problem we have right now.
Yeah, it's absolutely, the media played a huge role in it. Second, Shorten sucked balls. So,
unfortunately.
And I'm glad I was on record as saying that. I thought his whole shtick was just, I'm not that guy, which looked like it was going to work. But I said at the time, that's bullshit and we deserve better than that. And he should actually stand for something and inspire people. And he didn't, because all the conventional wisdom was he was going to win easily. And he didn't. So, fuck. Okay.
Yeah, but it's also interesting to find out why he didn't and where that came from. That came from the conservative Queensland states. And I think a lot of that was due to the fact that when there is some sort of thing, and I think there was a lot of uncertainty. And so when there's a lot of uncertainty, you tend to vote for more conservative governments.
Yeah.
Except strangely, which was what my friend brought up last night, where if you are in a recession, you vote for progressive candidates. So, so you know that there's a difference between uncertainty and just full-blown shit fuckery when it comes to recession.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, while the electoral result in Queensland was disastrous for Labor, that wasn't enough. That was before the election when I said, I'm not worried, because for the LNP to win, they would have to do significantly better than anyone expects in every single state. And they did significantly better in every single state. So, yeah, you can point to Queensland because that was a complete wash. But that wasn't enough. In and of itself, that wasn't enough. They did better in New South Wales. They did better in Victoria. They did better in South Australia. They did better everywhere. So, I think.
I mean, it's interesting you talk about candidates, because when I think about the American election and we look at this as two outsiders, I think that Joe Biden's weird. Bernie Sanders will hopefully do something. Elizabeth Warren was okay, but I just literally would have loved somebody like Andrew Yang. I wish I liked Pete Buttigieg, and I like the fact that there's a gay guy running for president. But I was at a talk recently in like in Sydney, where a friend of a friend was doing a talk. He's one of the authors, and he's talking about the fact that Pete Buttigieg, while great, didn't stand for anything that related back to, he was just a gay light. He was like this gay man who had a husband, but it was all essentially on show because there wasn't any policies that would make him stand out as the queer, amazing president that he could be. There was no policies around trans rights, queer rights, making sure that stuff like this is all happening. And but honestly, I mean, it's just really, it was really shocking for me as a queer person to be like, well, talk about this. I mean, you even had trans people going to like town halls and saying, we're not being represented. We are being vanished from public policy.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but you keep doing this.
Yeah. Look, Pete Buttigieg is an establishment stooge. I mean, he was an absolute piece of shit, honestly. But
I wouldn't go that far, but you know.
I would. He's a fucking CIA asset. He's a stooge of the worst of Wall Street. He's a stooge of the worst of crony capitalism. He represents everything fucking wrong in American politics, particularly in the Democratic Party. But that's equality. That's some good old equality. The gay candidate didn't have to be perfect. He was just as much a piece of shit as the other 80% of the Democratic. When I say he's a piece of shit, 80% of the Democratic candidates were pieces of shit. So he doesn't now. But that's real equality. He didn't have to be perfect. He didn't have to be a paragon of everything good to be a serious candidate. That's real equality, when you can suck and still be taken seriously. So that's the thing.
But it's also funny. It was also really funny to kind of understand the fact that a person like Pete Buttigieg, who was quite interesting, who just literally was like, what are you doing? Like, you've got people telling you their story, saying, this is really fucked. Literally, go back to your press people, go back to your publicists, go back to everyone and say, maybe we should think about this. But no, you just sat there and thought,
Yeah, they're all dodgy. Sorry, I just want a few hellos to people who came in. Raiders and Bobo and Safa. Hello. But yeah. Oh, Safa, Bernie struggle. Sanders is out. Sanders' only hope, and honestly, the reason I think he's staying in is Biden literally shits himself in public. And I think that's a 50-50 chance. Or Biden drops dead, which is honestly a reason. He is not well. He is not fucking well. And yeah, I did see someone saying,
started kissing children and like kissing people, and I was like, what are you doing?
I did see someone saying anyone but Trump. And of course, Biden would be immeasurably better than Trump because anyone would be.
He wouldn't fucking call the coronavirus the China virus.
No. But he's going to get smashed. He's going to be the candidate, and Trump will absolutely fucking destroy him. Trump will humiliate him. Biden has nothing in him to inspire enough people. He appears to be even more popular with black voters than we realized. He's done extremely well, and that's a whole relationship thing. But overall, he's not inspiring enough people. Fucking Biden is going to go down in a screaming heap. Trump will destroy him.
Yeah, look. But, like, can we just, like, spend it, like, look, the problem that I have sometimes is, like, if we can think about it, is, like, candidates using, or politicians, like, of course, Donald Trump using, like, Fox News or bringing out their agenda. And, like, also just, like, it's like, I remember when, like, Scott Morrison would use the Daily Telegraph to promote this, like, anti-trans agenda, which is now just kind of happening all the time. And now Daily Telegraph has, like, a fucking, or, like, the Australian, like, News Corp actually has a journalist who literally, it's his job to discredit the lives of trans people.
Oh, yeah. The Murdoch media have done so much slander against trans people. It's absolutely horrifying. So I just saw a phone. Oh, Lion Spider talking about how all the political leaders are puppets, and Sanders kind of gave a vibe he's maybe not owned. You just remember there's a classic line from an American comedian, Bill Hicks, who died in the 90s. I think it was cancer. But he was pretty aggressive politically. He had one routine that I thought was quite funny. He said, you know what I think happens when someone gets elected president, no matter what party they're from, no matter what they look like publicly, just after they give their acceptance speech, these greasy military industrial scum fucks who put them in the job take them into a dark room and run a film on a film projector, and it's the Kennedy assassination, and it's crystal clear, and it's from an angle you've never seen before that looks a lot like it's from the grassy knoll. And then just after Kennedy's head explodes, all these greasy industrialists turn to the new president and say, any questions? Which is
Wow.
it's a comedian's routine, but it's very funny. The idea that the power brokers behind the scenes, what do they have that does basically let them control every president ever? It was a funny take on how the military-industrial complex controls presidents, but you can't help thinking something like that happens.
Yeah.
I tell you,
I mean-
sorry, go ahead.
No, look, I was just gonna say, like, no, I don't know what I was gonna say actually.
That's cool. I was just going to say, because we were talking about cinemas, you were talking about cinemas. It's not a bright spot so much because, again, people may have noticed the really big budget films have pulled their release completely because they can't afford to release empty cinemas. But the other films, the not huge budget ones, a significant number of them are going straight to digital. You'll be able to rent them at home rather than waiting 6 months. And there's some pretty good films slated to come out like now and in the next couple months. And a lot of them, because the cinemas will be closed or all but closed, they're released to digital.
See, this is the thing. So because I've been doing a bit of research on this today. So the only cinema that's closed right now is Palace. So Palace have closed all of their cinemas. Dendy, Hoyt's, Event, and like all the other independent ones, except for Village that could be on the edge, have all said they're going to remain open. Hoyt's and Event, which are the two big multiplex brands in Australia, they've both said that they will take all of their capacities down to 100 and work off the idea of being socially isolating.
Yeah, that cinema I always go to, the Classic, sent an email today saying they're doing that.
Yeah.
I'm seeing if I can find, because I did see this article about films being released on digital.
So it's like films like The Invisible Man, Bloodshot is being released in the next week. But again, the problem is the fact that you've got so many movies that have been delayed.
Yes. Oh, yeah. The big ones, James Bond, Mulan. I know. Here are the ones that have been confirmed are going to digital now. Just Mercy, Birds of Prey, Invisible Man, The Hunt, Emma, Trolls World Tour. Okay.
That actually hasn't been confirmed. There was an update that came out that's saying that film will actually come out in September.
Oh, well, I'm just going up. This is an article here. Obviously, information changes. So
yeah, totally.
Frozen 2 is going to be released sooner than
on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus, bro. I still don't have a Disney Plus. Now's probably the time to watch The Mandalorian. A few other things to watch. Lion Spider, Wangaratta Wahine. God, we're the same age. We are probably the only two people in the chat who get that reference. It's a really weird 70s song. Anyway, Wangaratta Wahine. Oh, dear. Yes. Catherine, you pre-booked tickets, Milan, and got a refund. I actually think Milan looks pretty good. proof's in the pudding, and sometimes trailers can lie to you, and trailers are far cooler than the actual movie. But I think Mulan has the potential to be pretty good.
See, it's quite funny because I thought the exact same thing about The Invisible Man, and I watched it with my filmmaking friend.
Yeah.
And we were kind of looking at this through a very filmmaker vibes, and we just thought, it's interesting, but it is such a mess.
Well, see, I haven't seen it. I've seen a lot of people say very positive things about it.
Which, honestly, it's like I literally went and said, did we and you guys see the exact same film? Because personally speaking, I thought the film was so weak.
Yeah. But that's the thing. I guess you're right. There's an element of you can make more or less objective points purely about the craft and the structure of the film. But for a lot of film watchers, they don't even watch things like that. They just go, did I like it? And that's personal taste.
Yeah, no. But I think the other thing is, and I think as filmmakers and film students, we are being advised to actually, instead of asking whether or not we liked or didn't like it, we're actually asked to kind of think more critically about what has engaged us to think like that. What do we think about this? What does this film say in the present day thinking? And so when me and my friend watched The Invisible Man, the problem that we thought is I'm not going to ruin anything for you because it's not really a spoiler, but it kind of is. Yeah. So in a scene, which I'm being very broad about, there's a scene where Elizabeth Moss and her sister are opening the door, and she's really angry at her because of something she did. And at that point, you get completely taken out of the film because you think, this is not the way that this would happen in real life. It just does not happen.
Yeah.
And I'm being practically broad because I think when you see, you'll just watch and go, what?
Yeah. But to be fair, it's like an at least slightly schlocky Blumhouse horror film as well. It's, better than a lot, but they're specialized.
I didn't think that. Although, look, I mean, I did. There are a couple of Blumhouse films that I've seen that I've gone, yeah, but you didn't really explain it.
Yeah. I did. So Lion Spider just made a joke about I want to watch The Invisible Man, but didn't see him. I think a mutual friend of ours, Kyle William, posted he went to see The Invisible Man and was the only one in the cinema.
The only one in the cinema.
So he took the picture of the empty cinema and was going, "Oh, I'm at The Invisible Man, but everyone else has come in costume," which I thought was a pretty good dad joke. I thought that was a pretty good dad joke.
Yeah, that's quite funny.
Daniel's got games night. Okay, cool. That sounds like fun. I want to do more online things. I don't want to rush, but I mentioned on the last live stream, I want to do the equivalent of radio plays. Because I can have up to half a dozen people in here. Get everyone to have the same script in front of them, and everyone has a particular role, and just do like silly dramatic readings, and radio plays. But on live stream, just for fun and entertainment, and maybe eventually play games. I mean, I've got Harry Potter Trivial Pursuit, and trump cards, and my Star Wars Family Feud trivia. So,
I want to do like this all kind of coronavirus, how shit it is, but it's also kind of inspired me to want to talk to a couple of people and see if I can do a film festival online.
Yeah, well, I noticed Matthew doing that in the Australian YouTuber group, saying, "Hey, for fun, let's all watch the same movie," and it was Hot Fuzz, and then they'd have this chat going, and they all hit play at the same time, so you can have this online chat of like you're sitting with your friends rather than sitting by yourself watching it, which I quite like as an idea. See, Mark wants to be in the radio place. I don't want to rush into it, but because I think we're going to be doing this for a long time.
I mean, look, the other positive thing about this is our library that we have at the school, pretty much everyone went crazy. So like you can borrow a whole bunch of things. Yeah. And that is exactly what I have done.
Oh, yeah. I've got besides the streaming services, I'm a bit of a collector, and I have a huge thing of DVDs that I've never watched. So that's a nice that's a spectrum from Bumblebee to Mulholland Drive. That's something for every mood there, Kyle. I like that.
I have at the start the most controversial film of all time.
Halo! Oh my god! 120 Days of Sodom. Oh my god. Damn, Daniel.
Everyone has said that I need to have a couple of drinks before watching that. As you said, I've got Bumblebee.
Yeah. Bumblebee was okay. I saw Bumblebee. What's that one?
Original NTSC version of Suspiria.
Suspiria. Oh god, that was on SBS or something a little while ago. Weird Italian 70s horror film.
With Dario Argento.
Yeah.
The sequel.
I still haven't seen It Part 2. I have to watch that. Mandy, that's just the whole film shot through an Instagram filter. You need to take acid when you watch Mandy. The whole thing's a fucking acid.
I mean, look, when I watched Enter the Void, I was like, honey, I'm not on acid, but I feel like I'm about to be.
No, there's no two ways about it. Mandy is meant to be watched on halluc. I watched it completely straight, but the whole fucking thing is shot through an Instagram filter, and you are definitely meant to be on hallucinogens when you watch it.
That's insane. Then I have Crawl.
I've heard that's good. That's like blood and alligators and shit.
The Alexander McQueen documentary.
I've heard that's a pretty good doco too.
Mm-hmm. The intensity of Raw.
That one I don't know.
That is like woman who eats. Basically, a lot of people are calling this in a very humorous way vegetarian porn. In the fact of like, literally, people are like, "This is turning people vegan."
Oh god. Okay.
And then I have good old David Lynch with Mulholland Drive.
That's a good one. That's a typical Lynch weirdness, but it's pretty good.
And then I have as a final.
What's the Pulp Fiction classic? Love it. Love the classics.
So I've kind of gone between classic and not because I just want to kind of use this as a way of doing this, but then I'm also just kind of going through and so I'm just having a look. Have you ever used a site called Mubi?
No.
You haven't. Oh, hang on.
No. Where's it? Oh, who's still at work? Yeah, I'm working from home, going into the office tomorrow. I'm working for state government at the moment, so it's probably pretty stable. They're very supportive with the work from home stuff, and because I'm doing IP stuff, I just have to talk to people and write documents. So I can talk to people on Skype and share documents around digitally. Probably be okay for a while. I don't know. Yes, you think it's a hard time to be a motivational speaker because it'd be very difficult to surround yourself with positive people now.
Let's see if this will work.
What are you trying to bring up?
Trying to work out
website
this.
we're talking about.
Okay, so this is like my favorite site right now.
Okay. Okay.
So literally this will screen.
Yeah.
This is like 30 days to watch different films, specifically like really like avant-garde indie films. It doesn't show like Marvel films or anything like that. It really is just literally films that you may never have seen before. And you won't actually get a chance to see again. I've downloaded this to watch, so I might watch this tomorrow.
The Red Phallus.
Hmm?
Could love that. What's that? Children of the Dead. There. Yeah, okay. Some interesting looking films on there.
Yeah. And so if you get a VPN, you can actually, because they stream different films on different things. So
okay.
That will give you, so if you click on this one, which is another one I tried to download.
Sorry. Lion Spider just sent me a screenshot, which I had actually seen before, which was hilarious. There's a news guy fronting a thing with it, and the slide behind him says classes cancelled. but he's half in front of the title, so it says "asses cancelled," which is class.
That's really funny.
All right, I think you might have sold a few people on this site, Kyle.
I think I have as well. So if you go to facebook.com/movie as well, which is just MUBI, I think that's
MUBI. I was about to ask how to spell that.
like movie, but with the B and an I.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, so I would say, and also grab a VPN while you're at it if you want to watch this site, because one of the great things about that particular site is because of the distribution deal that is territory by territory. They don't just put the 30 of the same film. Sometimes they will have the same sort of film, but technically because of distribution and territory distribution, there will be like different films throughout.
Okay.
I've got coronavirus. Nah.
Yeah, well, sneezing is not one of the symptoms. A dry cough is more of a worry. All right, I'm going to make a cocktail while we're talking, and because I know a specific thing I'm going to do because there's a thing I want to use up. Oh God, I hope it hasn't gone off. Oh, I just broke a pen. Whoops. Okay. This and this maybe. All right. I'm going to get some components. Look what I got last Halloween, because I wanted to get White Girl Wasted. It's a pumpkin spice chocolate cream liqueur. But I'm worried that it has a use-by date and I'm past it. Maybe is there a use-by date somewhere on here? I've kept it in the fridge since I opened it.
It is alcohol, isn't it?
Yeah. Not really hot.
I feel like alcohol is long life, but who knows?
Yeah, but this has got milk in it. So.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah. All right, but I'm going to give it a go. So there's that. And this is give it a beastly edge. I'm going to add some mezcal, tequila's smokier, meaner cousin, but it needs something. Sweet.
I do feel like this is like hot ones, but with alcohol. What do I? This is a pure experiment now. So, I have a question for you, and I don't know if you know the answer. Question away. You've been to Sun Studios, haven't you, in Sydney?
I don't think I have. No.
Okay, then you won't get it.
I don't think I've been there.
Because I'm wondering, I'm right now shooting I'm going into pre-production on a film very soon after the coronavirus has been done. Yeah. And I'm thinking about shooting it at Sun Studios, and I'm just wondering whether or not they're very cheap or if they're very expensive.
Ask in the Facebook group. I'm sure someone knows.
I actually haven't. I don't think anyone's got back to me. Or maybe I dreamt it all.
Possibly, It's easy. All right, I'm just looking at volumes. I need to put some ice in my shaker.
But yeah, no, so it's going to be a really cool film.
Yeah.
I might even share like a 10, 20 second, because it's only a minute. It's only a minute and a half.
Right.
So I might share like a little extract from like the first 20 seconds or something in the group or something.
All right. Oh, look, 80 sent here. Hello.
Hello. Just because Kyle was on time doesn't mean he should just, be there all the time. I was waving for ages and ages, and you didn't even care because it's probably because I'm prettier.
Yeah, well, I was also getting things together from...
Well, I know you were making the alcohols, and I was making the house go so I could sit down in my chair.
That's good. Right. So we go mezcal, and then we add my...
Kyle, censor yourself. I can't say shit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. My wife.
I feel like we're like a Fox News talking head now.
It is. No. We can get a couple more people. Does anyone? We can have 6 people in here. So be real Brady Bunch stuff at that point.
Or or Fox News.
Indian TV really goes to town with it. I've seen a few things.
Oh, yeah.
Indian TV will put like 8 or 10 people on.
Yeah,
And it's beautiful.
they'll put like a dozen people on, and they'll all talk at once.
Absolutely beautiful chaos.
Mm.
I'm
It's
going.
almost like a very choreographed mess, but it's not even choreographed. It's quite.
Yeah, no, the choreography is not there. This is pure experiment here. I'm just guessing that these things might go together. So I'm doing mezcal, the orange liqueur, the chocolate liqueur, and chocolate and mezcal do go together. There's lots of chocolate mezcal drinks. And I wanted something different, something fruitier on it. So I'm putting this pimento dram in, allspice dram. The base is allspice berries. And some people call it allspice dram, and some people call it pimento dram. This particular maker calls it pimento dram. And I'm going to put a bit of lime juice because you've got mezcal. You always want a bit of lime with mezcal or tequila. And I have no idea what this is going to taste like, but we'll soon see. Could do the shaky.
I was a bit crushed when I found out about pimentos in olives.
Right.
Because pimentos in olives are the flavor that they put in the juice.
Yes.
And the actual red thing in the olive is bloody capsicum.
Yeah.
Shattered. I thought there was an actual pimento stuck in there. I thought some underpaid woman in a third world country had to, with her little fingers,
stick a bit of capsicum in there.
Put a little bit of capsicum in there and put it in, and then put her fingers in acid to clean them, and then do it again.
Yeah. I always thought for the longest time maraschino cherries were some weird confectionery. Like they weren't really cherries, but they're really fucking cherries. And they're really cherries. They dip them in terrible things, bleach them and completely change their consistency, then soak them in a colored syrup that gives them the color. But they start off as real, ordinary, off-the-tree cherries, which blew my mind.
And then instead of keeping them cherries, they bleached them white.
Yeah, they soak them in bleach.
Why wouldn't you keep some of the fucking color? Surely it'd be cheaper.
Yeah.
So, but no.
It's a beautiful orange color. It's a lovely color. I've also been chilling my drink for the last hour, so the glass is really frosty.
Nice.
But now,
what are we looking at?
Oh yeah, that works. That's good.
Good.
Oh my God, I love it. The flavors was like I was within a microsecond of saying, "Can't really taste the mezcal," and then the mezcal sort of snuck up behind me and said, "Here I am." The smoky. If you like smoked barbecue, mezcal's the drink for you. It's very smoky.
Yeah, it'd have to be coming from there.
Oh. And look, I'm going to completely change the topic because I've been meaning to bring this up for a couple of live streams and I keep forgetting. I guess, look, we're all more likely to be looking for more entertainments lately. And if you're all into podcasts, ABC have a new one. Most of the episodes are out now. I think there's one, maybe 2 episodes will come out in the next week or 2. It's called The 11th. It is an in-depth look at the sacking of the Whitlam government. Fascinatingly, the journalist who put it together wasn't even born when it happened. But he has a bunch of interviews with people who've basically never told their story, people who were firsthand there. And, it's very interesting because I was too young to really know what was going on. In retrospect, I've learned a lot, but I was learning stuff, and this wasn't secrets. It's just stuff I didn't know. Like Australia was suffering a series of right-wing terrorist attacks from separatists at the time.
Yep.
And ASIO were just a bunch of Reds under the bed cold warriors, and they knew nothing and had done nothing about these right-wing terrorists. And the incoming Attorney General, Lionel Bowen, he thought, the fuck? So either these guys are just ideological pieces of shit and so of no value to us because they won't even look at right-wing terrorists, or they're really fucking thick and they didn't know right-wing terrorists were out there. Both of those are bad. And the ASIO basically refused to talk to him. So he actually got the federal police to raid ASIO headquarters.
I've seen the footage. It's fantastic.
Wow.
Raiding ASIO. Fantastic. Just raiding
Absolutely
ASIO.
wild. I didn't know that happened. That the federal police fucking raided ASIO. It was brilliant.
They got ABC, Channel 7, and ABC and Channel 7 there to watch them raid ASIO.
Yeah.
It's
So
fantastic.
yeah, that was off the bat, and it's interesting because the fucking Whitlam government really was a train wreck. It was the policy-wise, absolutely brilliant. Sorry, I got the name wrong. I knew I had it wrong as I said it, Mark. Thank you for correcting me. It was Lionel Murphy. Lionel Murphy, who fell into quite some disrepute later in life. He was a QC and a High Court judge. He was involved in some very dodgy stuff later in his life. Thank you for correcting me, Mark. I kind of knew I said the wrong name as I said it, and I couldn't think of the right one. But yeah. So Lionel Murphy was the Attorney General who ordered ASIO. So I'll give you one spoiler. They interviewed a journalist who was looking in the archives in the US Library of Congress for information about America's views on the Whitlam government. And he knew there was, everyone knew between Nick and Kissinger, and they hated the Labour Party because they were clearly dirty commies. And Labour started saying things like, fuck America, we're going to get rid of Pine Gap. And Nixon and Kissinger clearly didn't like it. They made a lot of public statements and made it clear they didn't like it. But it was always suggested what they said behind closed doors was far worse. And this journal actually put in a Freedom of Information request because there was a record of, like, there are memos, but they're not publicly available. And he did a Freedom of Information request and said, can I add this? Is your microphone right next to your keyboard or something, Kyle? It's super loud. You got one of those.
Is that?
Yeah, it is. You got one of those mechanical keyboards, do you?
I've got one of these.
No, it's just super loud.
Ooh, that's pretty. It's got lights on.
It's got lights on. I was just going to say that I'm going to head off so you guys can keep talking, but I'll speak to you guys later.
No, hang out.
Bye, man.
Hang out, because, you know, you're pretty.
Oh, no, I've got to go. I've got stuff I've got to do, but I'll speak to you guys later.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle.
So, yeah. So this journo saw there was a record, there was a sealed file about the discussions between Nixon and Kissinger about Australia. And he put in a request. He's saying, can I see that? And the librarian said, I'll have to look. I don't know what that file is. And the librarian came back and said, my friend, you are never seeing that file. That is never, no one's seeing that. Which literally can only mean Nixon and Kissinger directly said, let's get rid of him.
That's right. It was let's destabilize and destroy this government.
Yeah, which we all know happened. We all know
went down. Yeah.
Of the many players that destabilized the Whitlam government. Again, important to note, a few of the key players in destabilizing the Whitlam government were the Whitlam government.
Yeah.
Because they were fucking cowboys.
Let's basically get down to the brass tacks of how does a first world bicameral government be unable to get finance?
Yes. because
How
of
does
weird
that happen?
technicalities in the rules.
How does that happen in the first world? How does that happen? And
Yeah.
that's what went down. That's what fucked them.
Yeah, it was a very sort of weird exploitation of the rules that a lot of establishment conservatives thought was a very bad faith thing to do. And Fraser was only hanging on by his fingertips because a lot of people thought he was doing the wrong thing with blocking supply, basically saying the government can't have any money to operate. So public servants can't get paid. Doctors, nurses can't get paid if they're in public hospitals. So a lot of people in the conservative side thought Fraser was doing the wrong thing, and he was on real thin ice. But again, we all know what happened. But the last episode that just went up this week was we got up to November 11th, and it broke it. And I kind of knew all these things, but just having them broken down piece by piece by piece, the fuckery, the absolute fuckery that went on. Like, oh my God. Like, Malcolm Fraser redeemed himself in later years, but the fuckery he was involved with then, he should have been ashamed of doing what he did. It was disgusting. What he did was absolutely disgusting.
Oh, and Kerr should have shot himself.
Oh, I don't think anyone defends Kerr, but yeah, this last episode where they just broke it down moment by moment. There was this, and it was so volatile. And Whitlam was caught off guard because he was completely unaware of the depth of the deception. He thought people were going to follow rules because there were rules, and they just went, I don't think we will. I don't think we will follow rules because we are about power at all costs. And because Kerr was a narcissistic, alcoholic fucking wanker, and Whitlam was a narcissistic imperious. He was a narcissist, and I wouldn't quite call him a bully, but he really didn't give a shit. Yeah, he did not give a shit about anyone he did not give a shit about.
That's right.
And he did not give a shit about Kerr, and he made it obvious, I am Kerr's boss. The motherfucker will do whatever I say. Yeah. And that was basically the source of Whitlam's power. Publicly stating repeatedly, Kerr will do what I fucking tell him, and naively believing Kerr and Fraser would actually follow the rules. But if he had never alienated Kerr, if he played interpersonal politics just a little, it wouldn't have happened.
But he also was of a generation where people towed the line.
He believed in the rules. He believed in the rules, and
people believed that you didn't cross, you didn't jaywalk. People believe that.
Whitlam believed in the supremacy of the Parliament, and Kerr and Fraser didn't. They were all about power at any cost, and Whitlam had upset Kerr by saying, "You're my bitch, and you'll do what I want," and it all came undone. Like, two tiny things could have changed it all. If Whitlam had just played interpersonal politics a little bit with Kerr, that probably would have saved it. Also, if he'd had just a suspicious nature, if he had had an inkling, and people did warn him. People said, Kerr is saying some weird fucking shit, man. Because while it was Kerr who sacked him, he had the power to sack Kerr. If he knew what Kerr was doing and going behind his back, he could legally have sacked Kerr, and it would barely have caused a ripple. there'd be a bit of a blah, 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 but it would barely have, it was not sacking the Governor General is not a constitutional crisis.
And then all he's got to do is pick another one and he's away. I mean, they've always got a short list of 5 anyway.
Do you know on November 11th, Whitlam was actually going to table a half Senate election decree on November 11th. And Kerr and Fraser knew that. And there was at least a 50-50 chance a half Senate election would have gone Whitlam's way, which would have given him the numbers he needed in the Senate, and supply would have been released. And that was one of the minutiae that I wasn't really, I think I kind of knew that, but he literally that day in Parliament was going to table the decree for a half Senate election, which would have changed everything. And Kerr and Fraser knew that. So they did their fuckery. And it's just like, wow.
Can you imagine, though, Australia being its science base being more involved in hard science than in agricultural science? We still would have been involved in agricultural science. There's no question. We still would have been involved in genetics.
Yeah.
We were too far along. But we would have been involved in solar. We would have been involved in electrical distribution, and we would have been involved in communications and landform navigation. So can you imagine what would have gone down in that situation? In that,
even one more Whitlam, even just serving out a term with supply being released, but if he'd managed just one more term, this country would be unrecognizable. It would be nothing like it is now. It would be so radically different. It's one of those pivotal moments in history, and we can't have nice things. Same as fucking Bernie Sanders getting wiped in the US and Jeremy Corbyn getting wiped in the UK and us getting Scotty from fucking marketing here. We just can't have nice things when it kind of looks like something might change. There might be something no. Horrible old thing. The horrible old thing is coming back.
Yeah.
That's that. All right. I'm going to put these things back.
Are you? Well, let's talk loudly while you put things back, and I'm going to make another bowl of Wheat Bix. Because
you always do this. Go make another bowl of Wheat Bix. Do it.
Well, you do it too, and we'll talk while there's nothing there, and it'll be good.
Or we could take turns. That's the other thing. We could take turns.
Why would we take turns when we can just do something experimental?
I don't know. Respect for our audience. Do you remember respect, young man? I don't think you do.
Bloody respect. I'll show them bloody respect.
He's going to get my YouTube channel. He's going to get my YouTube channel cancelled. There you go.
Cancelled?
Yeah.
Can't you just get demonetized?
No, I voluntarily demonetized because the shit they were pulling was too complicated, and I just went, I don't even want to worry about it. I'm just cancelling my monetization.
Well, I've been looking at it, and I'm thinking we could probably remonetize with a different thing, but we'll talk about that when we see each other, and we'll see each other for more than 2 seconds. Last time we saw each other was 2 seconds.
Yes.
And you can tell the peeps all about that.
Yeah, no, that was for damn good reason, is all I'm saying. I had to cross town with some emergency supplies for AIDSy, and I did not want to stick around for the cleanup. Let me tell you, young fella, me lad, that was not a thing that's going to happen. So I don't know if you can see in the mezcal. Yeah, I think you can see it. It's actually got worms in it. I'm going to make AIDSy eat the worms one day, see what it does to him. Right, I'm going to put the mezcal and pimento dram back. Ah! What am I going to get? I'm going to get my OP rum and banana. All right, I'm going to make a fruity drink. I'm going to make a fruity drink. Got some lime juice. Where's my pineapple coconut juice? That would be weird. Pineapple coconut juice. Oh, and this stuff. All right, I've got a plan. I've got a plan. Ah, no, AD doesn't have a new webcam yet. I will probably go over there this weekend and give him a new laptop. Well, a newer laptop. An old laptop that I'm not using anymore. But he will probably look better next week. So, what do I want? Ice? Probably don't need more ice. Some people insist you use lots and lots of ice in things. I don't think that's that necessary. So, the serious stuff. Put a little bit of the Earthproof rum in here. Feel compelled to sing as I do that, and I don't really know why. And a little bit of banana liqueur, because we're bananas. That just make it super tropical. Very, very tropical rum and banana liqueur. But also going to put some fruit juices in. Some lemon lime and some pine coconut. So this will be a very fruity drink. Hopefully that's not too much. I'm just making this up as I go along. It's that type of night. And we're not going to let coronavirus isolation get us down. We're going to continue to be creative and spontaneous people. Not let it get us down. All right. Give it a shicky. I don't know about you, but I watch lots of cocktail channels on YouTube. And the bartenders always seem a bit at odds of what they're going to do when they shake the cocktail. You offline, Spider. Thanks for dropping by, buddy. So they almost universally go sideways when they shake the shaker. I don't. I shake it straight to camera. I suppose maybe they're scared if it slips, it'll hit the camera. Oh, yes, you raise a good point. Mofo signed that the Crown Casino has not been forced to close because of the 100-person rule. People are getting progressively more and more pissed off about that, actually. I think, I meant to put grenadine in as well. Put a splash of grenadine in there. Go from orange to much darker. See how heavy the grenadine is? Oh, I'll show you before I stir it in. The grenadine went right to the bottom. It would kind of, maybe, I'm going to mix it. It would be kind of interesting to not, because the drink would evolve as I went through it. But I'm going to mix it a bit. Now it's a much dirtier orange. And I splashed some on myself. That's okay. Just makes me smell like an alcoholic. That's okay. But that's a very tropical looking drink. Let's see what it tastes like. Oh, that's a mighty fine beverage. That's a very fruity beverage. Speaking of fruity, he can't hear me. He doesn't have his headphones on. But speaking of fruity, there's AIDSy. Yeah, I mean, there's no surprise as to why Crown Casino is so far exempted from the crowd rule, and why Star City in Sydney was exempted from the lockout rules, because the state governments get an absolute fuck ton of money tax from the casinos, and doubtless get quite healthy campaign contributions as well. But people are generally getting more and more pissed off that the Crown Casino has been exempted from the crowd rule, and I think the clock is ticking on Crown, quite honestly, because there is quite the groundswell of people who are well pissed off with them. So I guess we'll see what happens in the coming week. Shit just changes so fast. And there are still so many people in denial about what's going on because people still don't understand exponential growth. Like, if the rate of cases and deaths doubles, say twice a week, which is the pattern that we're seeing at the moment, for ages, it won't seem that bad. And you'll still be able to say to yourself, why are people so worked up about this whole COVID-19 because it's not doing stuff? And then seemingly overnight, one day, it'll be fucking horrible. I don't know what that number is for most people, but a lot of people are going to get maths lessons. The two key maths lessons people are going to get is what exponential growth is, and that 1% is not 0%. And when you're talking about really large numbers in terms of population,
but it's like AIDS. 1% is no big deal. You know, as long as 1% stays 1% in the population for only 10 years.
You know, 1% of the US population's 3.5 million dead. 1% of Australia's population's 250,000 dead.
But
gruesome.
like AIDS, fucking it's exponential. So it's 1%, and then that 1% plus a new whole 1%, plus a new whole 1%. And this is the thing, you talk to young people today and they say, oh, AIDS is cured. You go, no, it's not.
No.
And they say, oh, yeah, but you can take Pep C. And it's like, well, that's good because it's 98% effective, which is not 100% effective.
It certainly is not.
Oh, yeah, but the treatments are so good. You live for 60 years.
Yeah.
Which is not 90 years.
Yeah.
And also, at the end of the treatment period, which is the last 4 months of your life, is a horrid experience. It's
not good. It's a gruesome way to die. Your immune system collapsing is a gruesome way to die. I want to look. I saw a really good.
Trust me.
Someone with no immune system. Yeah. Okay. I did see a good video that tried to explain exponential growth with the thing about lily pads on a pond. It was good. I'll do that. But this one's my favorite. This is a maths teacher did this in high school. It shows people really don't understand exponential growth. He's saying like we're in a month. Well, March has 31 days. Yeah. So on the 1st of March, the maths teacher says to some smartass in his class who won't take maths seriously, says, okay, you know why you need to know maths? Because you'll think this is a good idea. I will give you $10,000 every day this month if on day 1 you give me 1 cent, and on day 2 you give me 2 cents, and on day 3 you give me 4 cents, and you continue doubling till the end of the month. And the kid who knows nothing about math says, that's awesome. I've got the calculator app open here. I'll take you through it. So day 1 is 1 cent. Day 2 is 2 cents. Day 3 is 4 cents. Day 5 is 8 cents. Day 6 is 16 cents. Day 7 is 32 cents. Day 8 is 64 cents. Day 9 is $1.28. Day 10 is $2.56. So, of course, the kid is laughing because the teacher's a moron. Day 10, on this deal, the teacher has given this kid $100,000, and the kid's given the teacher about $5 in total. Obviously, the teacher's a moron and the kid's the smart one. This will continue being a good deal forever. So a day 10 is $2.56. Day 11's $5.12. Day 12, $10.24. Day 13, $20.48. What are we up to? Day 14 is $40.96. Day 15 is $81.92. Day 16 is $163. Day 17 is $327. Day 18 is $655. Day 19 is $1,300. Day 20 is only $2,600. So day 20, this kid has got from the teacher $200,000, and yet he's only had to pay out about $5,000. So clearly, the kid is the smart one. The teacher's now with only 10 days to go. Clearly, this kid is gonna be a huge winner. So day 21, $5,200. Day 22, $10,500. So it's taken to day 22 for the teacher to get what? You're back. You just like lost consciousness for a second there. It's taken to day 22 for the teacher to get what the kid has got on day 1. The kid's clearly smart. The teacher's clearly stupid.
I was just trying to count.
Yeah. Day 23, the teacher gets $21,000. Day 24, the teacher gets $42,000. Day 25, the teacher gets $84,000. It's starting to look in. But the kid's got $240,000 at this point. You know, still not worried. Day 25, $168,000 goes to the teacher. Day 26, $335,000 goes to the teacher. Day 27, $671,000 goes to the teacher. Day 28, $1.3 million. Day 29, $2.6 million. Day 30, I might have missed a day, but at day 30 or 31, we're up to over $5 million. So in the month that the kid thinks he's winning because he gets $300,000, the teacher gets about $10 million, and he started with 1 cent. And this is why I have no fucking patience for people who are looking at statistics of the first month of a pandemic that's going to go for 6 to 12 months, and unless we're really lucky, is going to increase exponentially for the first 3 to 6 months. It's just this basic lack of understanding of what exponential growth actually does. And a fucking big chunk of the world's population is going to get a mathematics lesson.
Yes, except for me.
No, you won't listen. But again, the other maths lesson is 1%. The people, we still don't know what the final death rate's going to be. Early betting is anywhere between 1 and 4% overall, which is a huge fucking divergence.
But okay. Look, no, don't look, because I was about to say something callous and fucked. And considering 1 to 4% of the population is going to die, that's going to come back and bite me in the ass, big time, because that's recorded forever. And I'll be known as that cunt.
Newsflash. Do you know what you're known as now? Sorry, you opened the door.
I did. I walked right through, didn't I?
Yeah.
I walked right in. Yeah.
That is not. I'm not going to miss that. That's just it.
No.
But no, people are going to learn 1% is, even if we are so lucky, and we will be very lucky if the death rate averages out 1%. If that's the case,
well,
you are going to learn 1%'s not 0%. If you get sick, someone you care about gets sick, it's going to get very real that 1% is not 0%.
Well, what's also going to happen is it's not going to be 1%. You know, and I know it's not going to be 1%. It's going to punch out to 4 or 5.
It could. Yeah. I mean, at this stage, it's so early. We have so little data. I mean, the World Health Organization are actually saying, because a couple of governments have been saying, oh, we should go herd immunity. All the vulnerable people should just lock themselves inside, and the less at-risk population should, circulate and get sick, and then they'll get better, and then we'll manage it. And as the World Health Organization has pointed out, there are a couple of key flaws in that strategy. It's a very high-risk strategy that might work. First problem is we don't really know what the fatality rate will be with low-risk groups. Second risk is we don't really know anything about how this contagion works. There is evidence that people can get reinfected after they recover, which is scary as fuck if that turns out to be the case. And the third thing is, who are saying, I don't think we've got the proper facilities to protect the at-risk people. It's well and good for you to say stay at home, but if the whole fucking walking population showing very few symptoms have something that's going to kill this at-risk population, I'm not convinced we have a way of actually protecting. So England was one country that was pushing it. And then some people have said, you are basically risking literally hundreds of thousands of deaths that we could avoid by following this strategy. So I'm not sure this is a great strategy. So
Adrian Edmondson's the Prime Minister, so I mean,
yeah,
it can't be can't be that bad. Look, okay, so what we're going to see, and it's because of Trump, okay, because Trump basically got told, do you want to spend some money today? And he said, well, no, I don't. Because Trump got told, do you want to spend some money on Africa? And Trump said, on Africa. And do you want to spend some money on China? And he went, on China and Africa. And they said, well, yeah. He said, well, no, I really don't. And that was it. That was the turning point. Because if you want your disease to mutate really, really fast, you leave it in China. Because that's how you do it. Remember you were saying that people were getting sick, recovering, and then getting sick again? That's in China. Why is it in China? It's because of how people live. People live with their pigs and their chickens next to one another, next to their house. So you get all of this wonderful fucking mutation happening and then hitting its human host and then exploding. You know, you can't tell China move your pigs, move your chickens, because there's nowhere for them to go, and everyone knows that the only thing that can't be corruptly taken off them are their fucking pigs and chickens. Everything else.
Memories of Mao will know your pigs and chickens and crops can be taken off you.
But what you can do is you can kill your pigs and chickens and stash them.
Yeah,
right?
but that's what. Okay, I'm just being pedantic because I did listen to a doco on this recently, and Mao's cronies did kill hundreds of thousands of peasant farmers because they actually assumed the peasant farmers were hiding crops and produce, and so they took everything they could see because they assumed the farmers were hiding stuff, and they weren't. And ultimately millions died. But I just want, as an aside, because someone did say, Mark was asking in the chat, what's the percentage on the John Hopkins coronavirus page? Fucking worse than I thought it was. I'll tell you that for free. The Johns Hopkins page has currently 200, I'm rounding, 220,000 confirmed cases worldwide, 9,000 deaths worldwide. That's 4.5%. Now, big disclaimer, the number of cases is grossly understated because of the number of people who aren't being tested. It might be understated by 50%. We might actually have 400,000 people infected at the moment. Conversely, there will be a bunch of deaths that we don't know were caused by it as well. But God, even if you're really generous, the official fucking figure is 4.5%. But even if you're really generous, you're going at the moment before it's out of control, before the health systems have collapsed, 2%. That's fucking bad. That is fucking bad.
That is fucking bad.
That's, for something this infectious, that is really bad.
You know what's retarded as well?
You? Sorry.
Sorry?
No, I didn't say you. What?
Don't!
You've got to stop opening doors.
Right.
I walk through them.
I am one of the students of the Midvale School for the Gifted, so whatever.
Yes, pushing on the pull door. Actually, what I love is you are, in a lot of respects, you would score as gifted on a lot of tests, and you would spend a lot of time pushing on a door marked pull as well. That's one. Again, that's our age. People have to remember Gary Larson's Far Side. I don't think we've got any Zoomers in the audience. I think millennials all know Far Side.
Anywho.
Mega Leach has been at Games Night, got coronavirus, came to tell us. Yep. That's what you get. That's what you get for associating with humans, Daniel.
That's it, mate. Bloody, so, you get, the Australian health system, without government approval, and I love this, without government approval, saw this coming from China, saw the patterns coming from China, because remember, we're very close to China, trade-wise, and people, not people-wise, what is it? When people, not immigration, but people trafficking. I don't want to say people trafficking because that sounds like
movement of people.
Movement of people between Australia and China is pretty fucking big.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Tourists want to see Australia. Australians want Chinese money.
Yes.
And
summary, yes.
Bloody so we have got a fairly good handle on what happens when Chinese get sick. They turn up with their lovely masks. trying not to get everyone else sick, which is a lovely gesture. But it's also a good symbol of give this lady a nice wide berth. Their masks are getting even more sophisticated now.
Yeah, but the masks aren't going to protect you as an individual from the virus. They're polite in that all your coughs and sneezes get, and that's in fact why a lot of Asian people wear them. It's a politeness thing. It's my coughs and sneezes won't reach you if I'm wearing a mask.
Well,
Where a mask would help me is it would stop me from touching my fucking face.
This is where this is all going, right?
Yeah.
Is the Australian health system has had experience with this before and gone, none of this shit works. What does work is gently treating in stages the sickness as it gets more and more intense.
Yeah.
What you want is to not clear the hospital straight away. You don't want to do that straight away. What you want to do is set up your strategy straight away. Then what you want to do, and this is stupid. Do you know the first thing that happened when coronavirus became a thing was all the doctors got sent on leave. They all got sent on holiday. All of them. They all got 2 weeks mandatory holiday. You're off. Goodbye. Go to Hawaii, go to the Seychelles, go to wherever you go, because, mate, you're not getting another holiday for 6 months. Yeah, if you're
really going to suck for 6 months plus.
Basically, they made sure all their shots were up to date. They made sure all the kids' shots were up to date.
Yeah.
They looked at all kinds of health options for their sons, and basically they started setting that up. So they set themselves up. This is what America doesn't do.
Yeah.
Right? They don't set themselves up. They set up they don't set up shit. They basically the first thing they do is they kick out the wards. They kick out everyone as the emergency happens. And they react. They're always reacting to what's happening. In Australia, it's always proactive. We know this is coming next. We know this is coming next. We know this is coming next. The Northern Health, Western Health, and Southern Health have got a contract with CSL already. So when the first virus bloody antibodies go out, we're getting them. This is basically under the tenure of America going, you'll send some of that to New Zealand first.
Yeah.
So that we do send it. Sorry, yeah, we do send it to New Zealand. And if they all drop down dead, then the bloody they call them.
I don't know. You're wavering a bit there. But,
no, I do know. Anyway, look, it's basically okay. So they stage it up until such time as then they kick out all the wards, right? But what they do is they treat everybody in the wards as much as possible, and then they up hospital in the home. So they say, right, you should do hospital in the home. Your food's nicer, your partner's there. You don't have to do anything. We'll see you once or twice a day. We'll change your dressing and we'll make sure you're all good. All right. And off they go. Then they hire locums to be hospital and home. And if it's really hardcore, they get them back in again. But most of the time, it's not. Most of the time, it's just a checkup every day. And have you been taking your tablets? Can I count them? And then you get a spirit of the health care system's taking care of me.
Yeah.
Then the government casually comes in the bottom, and this is not, you're stealing my sunshine kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is much more about your. This is much more about you are having to get ready to really move when we start to spin the gravity of these big bloody spaceships around, and then they they put positive pressure in the hospitals. They do all this shit. It's a 20. What did we say? 20 or 25 minutes? 25 minutes, isn't it?
25 million, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So it's 25 million. They've learnt in that time what the Celtic sorcerers knew back in. Did you say onyx?
Sorry, what?
Did you just say onyx?
No. I just intrigued at what the Celtic sorcerers knew.
Oh yeah, they were well, I mean they had a lot of warfare going on, and so they had a lot of really good anatomy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a really good grasp on anatomy.
Because this was people ripped open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the tricks that they had was if you were a warrior and you got injured and you got brought back into camp, the women would make you a soup of very strong onions and other flavors and garlic, and you'd eat it. And if after an hour they could smell you, they would go, yeah. Sentiments of the rest of the quarantine.
Yeah, like it's going. Sorry, that just randomly popped into my head. At some point, you and your love of Celtic things, you need to watch a series called Britannia. There's been 2 seasons of it, and it's about the 9th Legion of Rome invading Britain, and their main opponent.
Invading is a strong word.
Yeah. But of course, students of history, and they don't sort of make this explicit, only students of history are going to know, the 9th Legion vanished without a trace. And the most likely thing is the fucking indigenous people just wiped them out. The second one that was put about by a few people is they actually went native.
They went native.
Yeah. Most likely is they just got fucking wiped out. But it's such a fascinating stuff. Like, watch this old Britannia. It's about Romans coming to Britannia. Okay, cool. And then the dude just says he's the 9th Legion. And I went, fuck. Okay, this is fascinating. Because the commander of the Legion is a fucking nutcase who was actually in Palestine for the execution of Jesus. He was in charge of the garrison in Palestine that executed Jesus. So, which is funny.
How are you? How are you, soldier? Fine, sir. Back home, I'd be hanged. Here, they'll give me a fucking medal.
But yeah, there's 2 seasons. It's very good. The people who make it fucking love drone cinematography. There's all these really fast-moving shots that are obviously done on drones, but it's just such a great setup when you go, okay, it's the Romans in Britain. Oh, it's the fucking Ninth Legion. Okay, so all we know for sure is this Ninth Legion is going to disappear without a trace. We don't know if they're going to be wiped out by the indigenous people, or if they're going to go native and reject Rome.
There's a new theory. There's a new theory. The new theory is that there was a massive mutiny. That that they started to make civilization happening.
Yes.
Baths,
Yes.
plumbing.
They're set up in the city that's now known as Bath because it had hot springs, and the Romans fucking loved that, and they built the stuff so they could have these huge hot baths.
And the locals also liked it, right? But the locals wanted autonomy, and the locals had all kinds of local knowledge that the Romans were into, but the Roman commanders were not into because it basically defied the magics and religions. Now, remember, Rome was cool with almost any religion ever.
Yeah, and there's a classic thing with this with the locals when he just goes, oh, I've got no problem with your God. What does that God do? He does that. Oh, well, that's clearly just a manifestation of X. So I'm completely okay with you worshipping them because that's just a manifestation of our God. You're cool. Go for it.
Right. There's only a very few gods that the Romans weren't cool with. The very few gods that the Romans weren't cool with were the ones that showed evidence of existence. They didn't like that. They didn't like that at all. They didn't like gods that gave their priests power. They didn't like that at all. And they didn't like gods that grew nature quickly. They didn't like that at all either. And the Celts in and around Londinium at the time were pretty much doing all three. Thing is, half the legion is thought now. This is the latest thinking. Half the legion went, fuck, this is all right. The chicks are good. The guys are fun. Because usually when the Roman legions turned up and wanted to root, all the guys were there going, I don't want you rooting my chicks. But when the Roman legion turned up, the local Celts went, hook in, man. We know how to make more. It's a simple process.
Yes.
You know, every one you make is another one. Don't worry about it. And so they were pretty welcomed in that score. The Romans were required to go through certain hygienic practices. Which some of them were cool with and some of them weren't.
Hygiene, what a fucking hoot that was.
Well, the thing was, the Romans thought they were the most hygienic people on earth.
Yes.
And technically they were.
And Celts, not so much.
Right. But then the Celts had other hygienic tricks that, the Romans are going, not so much. Anyway, so
how can you tell? He's not covered in shit.
So then effectively what's going on is you've got this sort of grumbling thing coming on, and what was thought, we don't know. And the records, this is the thing, right? wherever the fuck Romans went, records, baby,
Yeah.
records, fucking detailed records of, look, a commander could fucking fart and there'd be a record. Yeah, there are graffiti in Pompeii saying Claudius Maximus in the year blah 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 had an exceedingly good shit here.
Yes.
In one of the cubicles. It's the funniest piece of graffiti ever. Anyway, records. They were deeply into records. There are no fucking records. They're all gone. Now they're not disappeared. They were destroyed.
Yeah.
You don't disappear fucking Roman records. There's just too many of. No, they were destroyed by the winners. The winners destroyed them. Now, what's thought happened was there was this mutiny, and that half the Roman legion wanted to go home, and half the Roman legion wanted to stay. And the boss said, "We're going home," and half the legion went, "No, we're not."
Possible, yeah.
And of course, what you've got is you've got a Roman legion that's been busily training a local people for 15 years.
Yes.
Against half a Roman legion.
Yeah.
So you've got a whole local people and a half a Roman legion against a half a Roman legion. Which way is that going to go?
Exactly.
So that's the thought at the moment. And where are the bodies? Well, the Celts cremated their bodies. So if they cremated all of those legionaries, the legionnaires, they basically could have destroyed all of the evidence.
And in terms of the Roman occupation, even past the 9th, like when the Romans absolutely secured their occupation, the insurgents still carried on. They wiped out at least 2 cities. And by wiped out, I mean they killed every living thing. Yeah. And nobody knows what happened because there were no survivors. There were no witnesses. Just the Romans went, hey, we haven't heard from, I forget what the cities were, but, let's and there's nothing. It's just leveled. And it's just
gone.
I'm going to, because it's not that far to go to bedtime, I'm going to share with you, because I think you would like Britannia, the head of the Druids. The Druids are the main resistance to the Romans in this series. The head of the Druids is played by Mackenzie Crook, who's most famous for his comedic acting. He was in the original UK The Office. He's in Pirates of the Caribbean as a bit of comic relief. I'm going to share with you a picture what Mackenzie Crook looks like and what he looks like side by side in Britannia. Check this out.
Oh, wow.
The prosthetics they do, and he's got tattoos all over as well. But the prosthetics.
Oh, wow.
He is he's good. He is very good.
Oh, wow.
Not just makeup. His acting is very good. But he is unrecognizable. He is just, and that's what the Druids all look like in Britannia. They're all fucking scarred and tattooed and crazy pants looking, and into the sex magic and whatnot, and controlling people's destinies, and writing runes on people's faces that no one remembers the language they're written in. But it's someone's destiny is written in the runes on their forehead. So the politics of it are very interesting as well. The different tribes and who gets played against who. It is basically very good. But I just want to leave you with that because yes, anyone who knows Mackenzie Crook probably knows him as a comedic actor. But he is full on in Britannia, and in fact, in season 2, plays his own twin, and they have a power struggle. They're like from different sects of the Druid religion, and they have a power struggle. But yeah, I think he spends a couple of hours in fucking makeup every day. Mega Leech wants to know what streaming service on. In Australia, it's on Foxtel. I don't think it's available legally on anything else in Australia but Foxtel. I could be wrong, but I have a suspicion it isn't available legally on any other service but Foxtel. It's a BBC production. It's a British production. So it's on different services around the world. But yeah, I don't know. I know you can you can get it on fucking disc from JB Hi-Fi, but yeah. Anywho, it's bedtime. As
it is bedtime.
Basically, not as he sits there.
I am thinking difficulty about how I am going to. I've got to present you 3 things, and I've got to make you go with them.
Right.
And I've got to make you feel good about them.
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. For now, my biggest challenge is I'm going to Betty Buys Sleepy Burgers. So you find people, look after yourself. I am actually going to try and do at least a short online live chat check-in every day, whether it's half an hour or an hour. Just say, hey, how we doing? Let's all fucking look after each other. Be cool. Be strong. Have some interaction this way. And as time goes by, maybe we'll work out some fun things like doing radio plays or having dramatic readings or whatnot. I might do some interpretations. I think I've got it handy. Neil Gaiman's retelling of Norse legends. I might even do a retelling of that so I can get around copyright laws. Paraphrase what's in there. That'll be a fun thing to do, some Norse legends. But anyway, good night, all you fine people. Like I said, we'll see you again soon. Probably, like normally tomorrow I do a TFU Friday. I might not do that. I might just do live streams each day just to check in. Just this situation is evolving and weird and changing and unprecedented. And we'll deal with it as it goes. But for now, I'm going to say good night. Mark, you're Gormanow123 on Twitter. Cool. Reminds me on Twitter, buddy. See you all again sometime soon, hopefully. I'm going to click the end broadcast button.